Hello everyone, welcome back to the RedSeaPodcast. This is Dennis as always, coming to you as promised right after the Olympiacos Partizan game. A game that brought a lot of things to the surface, honestly. To the surface, I don't know why my brain completely messed that word up. A game that brought a lot of things to the surface, but a win nonetheless. And a win at the end in a relatively comfortable fashion, as after the foul on Tyler Dorsey, the Partizan players just completely seem to have lost their nerves, and we end up getting a +9 on them. And honestly, at this stage, at this very early stage of the Euroleague, any difference is good. Any point difference could be needed, and any point difference is good. We treated the end of the game very well, despite there being a lot of issues within the game, and we got where we needed to get. As I'm writing in the description where you'll find any other links of the show which you may need or want, today, for me at least, was considered must win. Okay? For many reasons. Partizan is a team that has started very badly. They currently stand 18th with 3-6. Partizan is a team that we could have beat. Partizan is a team that hasn't won here in a span of decades, I'm pretty sure. A team that seemed to be unorganized. It's a new team. It's a team full of new faces that just for some reason hasn't bonded in the slightest. And it's these teams that we need to be using as a momentum push. No disrespect to Partizan fans, but it's teams like this that we should be beating easily and that we should be taking lessons from, as we did today. Up until the fourth, stuff was going very mixed and match. Stuff really didn't seem to go in our favor after a point, especially near the end of the half, as things were going too close for comfort. Honestly, I think that's the best way to put it. Things were too close for comfort. Of course, the first quarter ended up completely tied. The second, it was a 1 point lead for Partizan. The third, it was a 4 point lead for Partizan, as separate scores, of course. And we seem to be dropping. But thankfully, we woke the up because I can't really hear this early. And went out at the fourth, played our basketball, our defense, our offense, and went 27-13 to finish up the game. Now, as I said, up until the fourth, stuff didn't really seem to be going our way. A lot of people didn't really show up today. But the main complaint I personally have, and I know that I don't really want to focus on it because I haven't actually had the ability to be at the Peace and Friendship Stadium for a while, is that sometimes where it feels like we should be having an incredible home court advantage, right? As we do stand, and I do believe that with my whole heart and soul, right? That we do stand as one of the best fan bases in the EuroLeague. I believe that with my whole heart and soul, one of the best and most passionate. But when you come to Chef, when you come to the Peace and Friendship Stadium, and for a majority of the game, it's only gate 7. That's always loud. My props to Gate 7 as always, because day in and day out, they are always the loudest and non-stop as well, as it should be. But as a general image, when we stand in a stadium that's already a bit so and so in regards to generally if it's fit to basketball, the stuff that needs to be worked on, and for parts of the game, let me not say the majority, for parts of the game, everyone but Gate 7 is dead silent, a possibility of an insane home field advantage, home court advantage, just gets written out for no reason, which not only brings a lot of teams in, but lets the refs do whatever the hell they want as well. And that already puts a lot of weight, unnecessary weight, to the back of our guys that already, some of them, not all of them, semi-struggle form-wise. So my main thing to keep from today is an even performance-wise. Is that the general crowd of Seth needs to wake up a bit. We saw a few days ago, we saw what Zvezda did. I know that the Serbian atmosphere in general in basketball is unmatchable. Like both Zvezda and Partizan, the home games are insane. Like even if the teams are not doing well, the home games are insane. But we saw what Zvezda did against Pana a few days ago. And again, we're talking about a Zvezda that's not just first, that's not just on a hot streak, but a Zvezda that's been managing injuries as well. And we saw what the home crowd did against Panathinaikos. And we need, up until a point, we need to be doing the same. Segue. Perfect segue. Milutinov was the first performance that I would get into after I got into stats, but I'll get into it a bit early because why not? I'd say what a game, but it's not what a game. It's what a season Nico Milutinov had. Let me take you back some months where we were talking about Milutinov's possible renewal. There was a minority wanting him to stay. And me and a few others, I'm not just going to give the credit to myself, were saying that the moment Nico Milutinov gets a starting role, he's going to kill this league. And what is he doing? For me, up until now, Nico Milutinov has been the MVP. Not just for us. He should be the top undisputed favorite for the MVP of the season this far. He's been detrimental. He's been consistent. He's been an absolute force in the paint. He's moved the ball. He's scored. He's breaking rebound records for himself. There is nothing this man hasn't done this season. He's outdoing himself constantly. His PNR is through the roof. His PNR is through the goddamn roof. And yet he's getting better and better. Consistently better and better. And again, this argument we've more or less talked about in football, but it stands to be the same here. When you have a quality backup behind you that you can trust, your own confidence and your own game opens up even more. And now that Donta Hall is slowly but surely not just getting better, but performing to the levels that we want him to perform at, stuff's done. Stuff's done. Milutinov's getting more and more confidence because he knows he can fall back on a Donta Hall that's going to come in and cover the gap that he leaves to the best of his abilities because no one is expecting Donta to be Milutinov. And then he can go catch a breath or two and come back in and continue exactly what he was doing. And that's exactly, after a point, that minimum, what we saw today. Because we've seen the whole better this season. This was a bit of a dip in the rise of his form. But that's excusable. And Milu today in 21, as I was saying, dropped 8 with 50% and 80% from the free throws, dropped double-digit rebounds, 6 and 4, had 3 assists, a steal and a block, with just 1 foul and a rating of 21. 21. It's maddening what Milu's doing. It's insane what Milutinov's doing. And that's why I created this banner, but the comment covered me because in big man standards, at the minimum this season, he's been the top of the top. I know a lot of names are out, but he's been the top of the top, and I think no one can dispute that. He's been the most dominant for sure. He's been the most consistent for sure. And right with the boys of Red Star, he's competing to be the most efficient as well. He's up there. For me, he's up there. Undoubtedly, he's up at the cream of the crop. Right? But as I was saying, after a positivity break, back to the negatives for a bit. Shooting wise and attacking wise in general today, there's no easier way to say that we fucked it as a majority. 47% from mid-range is 16 out of 34, 36% from the 3 with 8 out of 22, with Partizan somehow being even worse. But that's a different scenario that doesn't concern us. With 43% as a general field goal percentage, dominating the rebounds, but that's solely because Donta and Nico completely killed the paint, which was one of the few consistent positives of today, especially on the offensive. Assists were more or less mixed. Blocks, not really many. What I wanted to focus on is turnovers. Heading into the game today, we more or less knew that Partizan isn't really a team known for turning the ball over. And we are a bit worse than them on that department, even though we still are on the lows of the league in general. But for the first 3 quarters of the game, in that sense, we were completely uncoordinated. Completely. Some passes weren't even going through. Some weren't even thought about. Of course, none were as bad as Galathis today. Thank you, Nick, by the way, for that final insanity of a pass. But sometimes it feels like some players, at least, rush stuff a bit too much. Maybe that's on B, maybe that's not on B. But some planning needs to be a bit calmer, and people need to check their surroundings more. Because we can't just keep passing like Mission Impossible style, threading the needle balls like every 2 attacks, or just having the ball just snapped up. Saying that, to play devil's advocate to myself up until a point, turnovers were 18 to 15. Like, there's not that big of a difference. Okay? But the difference is still there. And that difference needs to be looked at. It's one of the things that need to be looked at. Plus, again, we spend most of the game chasing, which in a home game is insane. We can't just keep chasing a home game. And again, it goes with the crowd. I opened up with a home court advantage. I don't want to just keep killing that same point, even though it is probably the biggest problem in my head, but maybe that's my personal fan bias. I don't know. So you tell me in the comments. I'm not exactly sure if I'm spot on that or not. But again, it's consistency. And it's consistency in which we fail in. And I'll bring it back to a previous point as well. Not a previous point of today, but a point I have kept making almost every basketball show, correct me if I'm wrong, ever since I probably opened up this project. And that is that Bartzokas and the basketball he plays starts from the defense and then goes to the offense. The moment the defense clicks, it may take a bit, but the offense will click as well. If we're shit at the back, it's very rare that we'll be good attacking wise. And for a majority of the game, the defense was the main issue. Covering, turnovers to fast breaks, switching the markings again, just couldn't stop them. The good thing in that department is that Partizan were equally as bad today as were Hapoel last game. But if we present ourselves like we did on the first 3 quarters against a team that's consistent, we're gonna have a problem. We're gonna have a problem, like we have in the past season. Our quality is there, and our quality will continue to be there. But we need to find that consistency from the jump ball to the final whistle. Of course, no one's perfect. Games are going to be close. But we can be consistently chasing home games, for example. And some mistakes that did happen in this game can just be consistently going on to keep happening, right? To be honest, I didn't see the first half, but the second half, when I saw it, we would have played much better. Thanks to Valentino's parents for creating this goated player. Ah, what a comment. Honestly, first half, you didn't really miss much. First half was consistently close, like the first quarter, we both went in. Same mindset, which is bad on us because, of course, again, we're the home team. And in the second quarter, you saw that dip that you saw, especially in the third. It's weird. It was a weird performance because it feels weird criticizing a win. But sometimes, as I said, the win can bring a lot of things up to the surface and can teach you a lot, in my opinion. It doesn't have to be a loss to be teachable, right? But going into the personal performances, again, can shout out this man, Glutinov, which we talked about already, without shouting out this man today. The man that is aging like fine fucking wine as well. And the man that put up his performance of the season, and if it wasn't for Nico Milutinov, the man that would have been MVP easily today, it's Thomas Walkup. Thomas Walkup that hadn't shown up like prime Thomas Walkup in a minute, to be honest. But he put up 15 in 24 today, no free throws, of course, had 50% from the 3 with 3 out of 6 and 3 out of 4. from mid-range, with 5 rebounds, with 4 defensive, of course, and 1 offensive, 4 assists, and a steal to his name, 17 rating, 17 personal rating. What's there to say about Thomas? Honestly, proving how detrimental he is. Once again, proving how that on his day he can carry the team to a victory. Proving stuff that people had for some reason forgotten. Because people had forgotten the utter importance of Thomas Walkup. And I don't know why people had forgotten the utter importance of Thomas Walkup. And once again, he showed that on his day, he's not only unstoppable, but he's unmatchable as well. And God help he stays healthy, right? But if we continue to see anything close to this Thomas Walkup, I feel like all the crying for the much needed starting point guard will go away. I just hope that Thomas can be managed correctly and that he can keep staying consistently healthy. Speaking of managed correctly and hopefully staying consistently healthy, holy shit, did this man show up? And holy shit, was this man missed Shaq McKissick. The energy and the explosiveness that Shaq brings to the game, we have known that for years on end, is second to none. And along with Thomas Walkup today, he reminded us the Shaq of old. He reminded us the Shaquille McKissick that was unstoppable, Shaquille McKissick that ran through people, and the Shaq that wasn't afraid to get up and wow the crowd. Putting up 6, 2, and 1, along with an insane number of 4 steals in 19. Another person that the win needs to have just an asterisk for him. Because if it wasn't for him today, maybe we wouldn't have picked up the momentum that we did to eventually lock that victory down. Because God, as I said, was this man needed, and God has this man been missed. Another person that deserves a shout, because I thought the criticism that he got today was a bit unfair, even though he did mess up a bit more than was ideal, is Frank Ntilikina. Frank Ntilikina, of course, who picked it up, started off the game great, then felt his decisions felt a bit rushed, a bit lacking of critical thinking. That makes sense. And then he picked it back up again, having a very important steal converted at the other end, having 2 very important putbacks, and having some very important rebounds as well, which led to him having 9, 5, 1, 1, and 1. At the death, of course, a very important block as well, with a rating of 10. In general, I mentioned Donta Hall as well. A bit of a dip in a steady performance rise. I think that he was a bit quote-unquote unlucky because, of course, you have to be ready for stuff like this. But he did run into the second most dominant big man of this league this season, and that, of course, is Partizan's Tyreek Jones. He struggled a bit more than needed, but in no way did he perform badly, putting up 7, 5, 1 and a steal in 19 with a rating of 9. He brought explosiveness as well as sack. He managed to keep up, which is much more than ideal in games like this. He needs to keep stepping up his performance, but he's there or thereabout as a much needed quality backup to Milutinov, which can only help Nico keep up his excellent performances as well. A man that had a weird game on the other end, and the last personal performance I really want to focus on is Tyler Dawson. I'll talk about Sasha as well in a bit. Weird one. From a consistent Tyler to the top of his game to a Tyler that didn't score a singular point in the first half. He ended up putting up 11, 2, and 2 in 34 with a personal rating of just 5. He had a weird one today, but people that have been consistently incredible can bounce back. And I'm sure Tyler will work his ass off to bounce right back from today's performance. And the last man I really want to talk about before moving on to look at the following games, because they are tough, is Sasha Vezenkov. Again, spotlight was on him, sadly today, for the wrong reasons, even though in the end it was a more than decent performance for Sasha, putting up 14, 4, and 2 with a rating of 18 and a steal to his name. He had a poor first as well. Up until relatively late, he was standing on just 2 points to his name. He seemed a bit shaken up. Again, it's Sasha Vezenkov. He'll be back to his best in no time. But those details need to be fixed. Evan Fournier, I hope he's okay. I didn't focus on this man because he played 8 minutes today. Of course, Fournier and Nico came back from an illness. Nico looked like he was at peak fitness for the entirety of the week, but stuff affects people differently, of course. I hope Evan's okay. I haven't read anything. If you that are listening to this even after see something and I haven't updated on it, please do let me know. But yeah, that's more or less what I wanted to touch on for today, both the positives and negative. And as we move forward, some very tough games are coming up, to be honest. Some games that we need to pay severe attention to, and especially in the next game. Because the next game we're facing one of the surprises of the season, which is Zalgiris, with one of the best guards in the league, which again we should have made a move for, but that's a whole different story now. Sylvain Francisco. Game of the season till the next one, dare I say. One of the toughest this far, as things stand. And a game that is gonna show a lot. I'm not the most optimistic, but I know we'll fight. And I know that we'll work on all the negatives we've showed, especially the past 2 games. But it's gonna be a tough one. It's really gonna be a tough one. And then, just 2 days after, we have Armani Milano. Armani Milano away. Armani away is gonna be a completely different game than the past 2 in Zalgiris. Armani away is always a weird one for us but it's a game we can use as a much needed boost before coming back home to play Paris not to end the month. My apologies, we don't end the month with Paris VC. We end the month with our brothers, Cremona Zvezda, away, which is going to be another tough one. So the next 4 games are going to be something. Definitely unpredictable, to say the least. But we need to stick behind this team as always. And they are they're gonna work it out, I'm sure. It is a perfect day, given that, I did actually go and post an incredible photo that ended up in my possession of Julien Biancon and Remy Cabella, and they both reposted it, which is surreal. And of course, we brought in the win as well. But yeah, it's surreal stuff. And again, it's one of the main reasons that I'm eternally grateful for all your support, because as we keep working and you all keep supporting us in this effort, stuff just keeps happening and building. And I don't know if you all saw the announcement earlier on Twitter. I sadly can't make any announcements just yet, but if stuff goes as I want it to go, which is rare, but it happens, the next 2 weeks are going to be big, relatively. Thank you all again, both for all your support and for watching today. Hope you enjoyed, as always, and I'll see you all Sunday. I'll probably wait for all the games and do the show at night, just to not overlap any football, because we play at 3 p.m. Greek time, which is an insane time for a league game, by the way. But yeah, I'll catch you on Sunday. I'll keep you updated as always on the time. This year has been going great, as always, and despite life getting to me the past few months, I am forever gonna be at the least grateful, because I don't know how to properly express the words needed to say thank you for not only keeping the show on the rise, but keeping me afloat as well. See you all soon.